I'm Prachi Kasliwal Dashora, founder director of Sharingwood World School and Sharingwood Foundation. I am also a member of DLC CSR committee of the Indore chapter. Today in the DLC talks, I'm going to be talking about a guide to the growing world of cognitive learning. Before going to the topic, I would love to give a little background about myself. I am a mother of two beautiful children. One is 9 years old and my boy is 4 years old. I had founded the Sharingwood World School with the aim of actually providing education to my children. So when my daughter was born, I started looking out for school options that were already there. I found a little gap because the schools were going very traditional and I had no perspective of having a traditional education for my children. So I started doing my own research, trying to find out what is happening in the international scenario and things like that. And that is what started with the Sharingwood World School. My husband and me, we both are director, but we have immense family support to start the school. We started with very small premises with just 8 children. And today, 10 years later, we have 3 campuses in Indore. And we have founded one of its own kind, Sharingwood Forest School, which is a completely nature-based learning. Now coming back to the topic of cognitive learning. So I'll tell you what cognitive learning is. Cognitive learning is basically where it is a learner-centric learning. In our traditional method of teaching, we usually have black and white answers. So if I ask you a question, you would always give me an answer. That answer could be either right or wrong, right? But in cognitive learning, it is basically how we approach a problem. We find the solution in the problem. We don't look at it for the correct answer. We look at the solution. So for example, we have a blackboard, right? So if I ask a child to draw a circle on the blackboard, he could give a different explanation to the circle. He could say it's a drum. He could say it's a cookie. He could say it's a planet. All of these answers are correct. But if we go to our traditional method of teaching, a teacher would definitely expect him in geometric terms to mention that it is a circle. So the cognitive development or the cognitive learning is gaining importance because it is very important for our future leaders to understand the problem and then find a solution. Cognitive learning is learner-centric, it is task-based, it is research-based, it is peer collaboration. And then you find a solution to a problem. If you ask me the benefits of cognitive learning, there are many. But one of the most important benefits is that the knowledge recall of a particular problem is much higher. Because the person is actually going in depth of the problem to find the solution. And hence, the knowledge recall becomes much, much higher than the traditional way of learning. For example, I think all of us would have gone through this problem of, making something out of Play-Doh, right? If you had to squeeze it, if you had to roll it, how would you do that? You would have to find a solution to that problem yourself. As children, we would pinch it, we would use a rolling pin, we would use cookie cutters, we would do so many things. But we would come up with a different solution every time we do it. That's exactly what cognitive learning is. Benefits of cognitive learning when you grow up, it's almost the same that I told you right now. For example, if you have to find a technical problem in a software, I'm talking in the corporate scenario, that if you have to find a technical problem in a software, the software developers, everyone would find out coding, would do so many different things to figure it out, right? Now, the person who would succeed is the one who would actually go deep down in the problem and then find a solution instead of just doing a rote learning ki this code is wrong, let me just rectify it because A is not equal to B, and B is not equal to C, right? I would give you another example. Nowadays, STEAM education is very popular in the international scenario. So STEAM education is, S is for science, T is for technology, E is for engineering, A is for art, and M is for math. If you look at these five core subjects, it does not include English, it does not include your second languages, it does not include your history, civics, geography, that is a part of our traditional learning. The reason these five core subjects have become so important at pre-primary and primary level of education is because it is the foundation of what you are going to learn after your schooling or your graduation, right? So when we are talking about engineering, for example, people are really surprised to say that engineering are taught to pre-primary students. But imagine a child using Lego blocks or sticks to build a bridge. And this is a child who is as blank as a slate. He does not know the technicality of angles, of weight, of mass. He does not know all of that. Yet he is able to create a bridge that can sustain a design concept. Another benefit of cognitive learning is that it instills the love for learning for a lifetime. So with new topics coming up every day like artificial intelligence, robotics, cooking, cognitive learning plays a really major role for people who would love to learn. They need to evolve with time. Just like how our nature is a beautiful teacher, the young colt will grow up to be a graceful horse. The chicks who are nibbling on worms are going to become hens. It's the same with human babies. So you give them the knowledge right now that they need for them to grow up and conquer the world of glory. That's exactly what we do at Sharing. So our classrooms are student-centric. The tasks that we give to children are where they have to find the solution. The teacher is only a guiding force. The teacher is only there to tell them if they are going on the correct path or not. Well, that could also be a subjective thing. The child could think the table as a place to keep books, or another child could think of a table as a ladder to climb up a certain height, right? So there's nothing right and wrong in cognitive learning. In international scenario now, they have also started doing flexible curriculums. So you can choose philosophy with biology, you can do chemistry with arts, you can do robotics with geography, and try and understand how a robot can be useful in desert areas or deep under the seas where humans cannot reach. It's an amazing field. So the flexibility in curriculums actually help children to decide on the specialization that they need to take up. Like I mentioned to you before, we have started Sheringwood Forest School, one of its kind nature-based school. I would like to tell you a little more about it and how it relates to cognitive learning. Now at Sheringwood Forest School, we are actually taking children back to the basics. When my generation as children, we used to play in sand, we used to play in mud, we used to, pet animals, all of that. And now the children of the current generation do not have experiences like that. For them, it's become a concrete jungle. They're not to be blamed for it though. So with the aim of Sheringwood Forest School is to actually take children back to nature and bringing nature back to the classes. We take our children out in open areas, let them identify trees, and then go back to their books and then see which is the people tree, which is the Ashoka tree. What usually is the technique is that the teacher in the social studies class is asking children to open their books, show them the pictures that these are the trees, and that is how the children are supposed to recognize it. At Sheringwood, we do the reverse way. We actually show the tree first, and then help them recognize it in their textbooks. Another thing that we do at the forest school is basically telling children their life skills, building up campfires, making tents, recognizing the fruits and vegetables. Gardening is a very important part of the forest school. Taking care of animals and learning the life cycles of animals. So they're actually doing it all practically. They are doing it on a practical basis every day. And they're out in the sun, they're out in the rain, they're out in the cold. That is what the children of today need to know. So to have experiences like walking barefoot on grasses, making mud houses, playing digging sand is what we want children to learn. And cognitive learning actually helps this way, because the children can take out things from the nature and make amazing stuff. So when you're talking about maths, you're teaching them ascending order, descending order, bigger, smaller, using just a simple leaf. You're teaching them how the leaf is growing in an ascending order. You're taking small leaf of a neem plant and then comparing it to the big leaf of a banana plant, and telling them how different textures of nature exist. The rough texture of the bark of the tree, the smooth texture of the leaf, the prickly textures of certain fruits. And that's the best way of learning things. So now you may ask me that why is cognitive learning important in the corporate world? When we're doing MBA, we're talking about topics like problem solving, we're talking about HR management, we're talking about marketing, etc. Right? When we're talking about cognitive learning, if you get a problem, you could be in any field of the corporate world. You could be in the management, you could be in technical aspects, you could be in the back office. Everywhere you would find troubleshooting problems, right? Where you will have to troubleshoot a solution. That is where cognitive learning and the way you have been taught in your childhood would come into play. If you look at the problem and not directly jump to the answer, you look for solutions in the problem. For example, somebody might come and ask you that we're losing a certain market share to a new competitor who's coming to the market. The solution to that problem would be that you need to understand the aspects or the new things that that competitor has gotten into, and then find the solution to the problem of your market share. To sum up my talk today at the DLC Talks, I think all the members of the DLC fraternity would agree to me that cognitive learning is the way forward. Our children need to be doing cognitive learning at the primary and pre-primary level to become amazing world leaders of tomorrow. The world is an open playground, and our children are going to shine, and cognitive learning is just going to make it better for them. The Della Leaders Club is a wonderful platform to bring the world into a smaller space, yet making it so big. The members are coming from such wonderful backgrounds and have come with amazing feat of knowledge. It's great to be a part of DLC, and I'm looking forward to meeting all the members of the world.